Hey everybody, like I said, there are 2 more questions to finish out this month's video, so let's just jump into them. And the first question is, Katie, I've been seeing a new therapist for about a month now. My first and previous therapist left her position at the private practice. I was devastated when I received the news, and I was overly attached to her, and I believe I still am. My new therapist doesn't quite help me in the way that is most effective for me. She validates my feelings, but she doesn't go further in helping me explore why I feel that way. Most of my issues stem from my dysfunctional family and their toxic behaviors. My new therapist thinks that I should be understanding of my family's toxic behaviors because their past was traumatic. My old therapist believed that it's wrong for someone to be toxic and tyrannical despite suffering from a traumatic past. Essentially, my old therapist believed that people hold responsibility for themselves and their own well-being. On the contrary, my new therapist believes that changing others is impossible. Therefore, we must accept people in their own nature. I understand both points, but I don't know which one brings me more comfort. In all honesty, this is something you get to decide. It's not up to a therapist to tell you whether or not you should feel bad for them because they had a traumatic past. I personally, as a therapist, am of the belief that we can't change other people. We can't make them better. We can't make them understand the fact that they're horrible to others. We can't help make them go to therapy so they get the help that they need to heal from their traumatic past. All that being said, what can we control and what can we actually do? We can control and help ourselves. And so that's what I focus on with my patients, because we legitimately can't do anything with other people. If it helps for us to be understanding, to know where it came from. Some people, it's helpful just to know, oh, they had a mental illness, that was why, or oh, they had trauma in their past, that makes sense, okay, and that can help us at least give kind of some understanding to how shittily they may have treated us. But for other people, it doesn't matter because they still treated us shittily. And so I would just take some time personally, sans therapist thoughts, and consider what feels best for you. Because if you could give 2 shits about why they acted the way they acted, then you know that you don't agree with that train of thought. Because in the end, all that really matters is that we're working to better ourselves. And so whether or not, you need to know the why is completely your choice. Don't let your therapist tell you that you need to see it or think of it in one way. This is your recovery, this is your process, so give yourself the time to figure out what feels best and what gives you the most comfort. And the second and final question is, the last few months I've been struggling quite a bit about grieving the loss of a child through a miscarriage that I had when I was 17. I'm 22 now. I know a lot of why I'm struggling now is because my really close friend has just recently gone through a miscarriage, and that has sort of triggered me somehow. I have no idea why it has affected me so much though, to the point of me not being able to function during the day. It feels as though my every waking moment is being consumed by thoughts of how I'm a failure in life by not being able to carry a child. Which is funny because I wouldn't say that to anyone who's gone through a miscarriage, so why am I saying it to myself? I've been trying to just allow room for all this guilt, but a huge part of me just won't. I'm just so confused why now, after all this time, it's affecting me. I've been around and supported people who've gone through a miscarriage before, so why is it so different? First, it's different because it's you. We can help other people go through all sorts of things, but like I'm always saying, everyone is going to be different. And just because we know how it helps other people and we know how to be supportive doesn't mean that we know how to do it for ourselves. And the reason I'd assume that your friends triggered you so much is because possibly you didn't give yourself the time and space needed to process it through when you were 17. That's a lot to manage when we're that age. And so just be kind and soft with yourself and know that it's okay. Maybe this is the safe time to finally process through the loss. So give yourself that space. It's okay to cry. It's okay to struggle to get out of bed. As long as we're communicating with people, we have sick days we can take, or we can take breaks from school, or whatever it may be, make sure you're giving yourself that time, because grief is weird. I've said that all the time. It comes and goes. It decides when it wants to pop in and bother us. And now is that time for you. So journaling it out, talking with a therapist, going to a support group. There's tons of support groups for people who have gone through miscarriages. There's even groups online in like Facebook and stuff like that. If you can't afford to go to a group, this can be a great way to talk with others who've been through it, because losing a child isn't just the same as losing someone else in our life. The thing that people don't talk about enough is it's the loss of the dream of the child. Once we find out we're pregnant, people start to consider what it'll be and what the child will look like and what they'll do and what they could potentially bring to our lives and what they could be in their own life. And all of that dreaming and the nesting and the hormones that come along with it can cause a whole other heap of issues if we do struggle to carry that child to term. And so give yourself the time to process it. Give yourself the time to talk about it and know that it's okay. Thank you all so much for your support. You have no idea. I know I tell you, but the channel couldn't exist without you. And I'll never forget when I first started Patreon, how scared I was, how nervous I was to put myself out there and to ask people to support me. But our community is amazing. You all are wonderful, and you're the reason I can keep doing what I do each and every day. I hope you found all these answers helpful, and I will see you next month. Bye.